Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to a new season of Scope. This year we're doing it a bit different to how we normally do it. Just to introduce myself, my name is Abdirahman. For those that don't know, this is
For those that don't know and those that know, this is Salman.
and today we have a special guest. He is young. He is probably the hottest property and prospect right now. Yeah, Allahumma barik. No, he's someone who we met at one of our events, and he is doing amazing things. And there's no one we should be starting with this new season except Abdirahman. Abdirahman, welcome.
Thank you.
For those that don't know you, introduce yourself and what you do.
All right, assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh first and foremost. My name is Abdirahman and I'm the founder of Urban Rise. Now, Urban Rise is a social enterprise that, one, raises awareness of financial literacy and the importance of financial literacy, and also educates young people on this topic.
Wow. MashaAllah.
Listen, that's one of the most succinct descriptions I've ever heard in my life. If whoever's teaching you how to teach me, bro. Do you know what I mean? It takes me 15 lines to get one message across.
You know what it is? I feel like from young, I've always been a waffler, wallahi, but I'm still a waffler. I don't get it twisted. Like, my friends tell me shut her up all the time. But I go to let me not lie. I go to a lot of networking events, and I think it's just over time, repeating it, understanding what I'm trying to do, and you finally get like a little rhythm going, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. I mean, being an effective communicator is being able to kind of put across what you're trying to say, in as little words as possible. And that's something, bro, I find a lot of difficulty with. Being the number one waffler, the chief waffler, the president of all wafflers.
Literally.
You know what I mean? It's really difficult.
Now, we're going to see. At the end of this podcast, I might take that title from you. Who knows? Who knows?
Abdirahman, bro, let me just start by saying thank you for coming down. And let me just echo what Fatah said 100%. We are genuinely so privileged and happy that, you've decided to jump on board and start this kind of journey with us. And there's no one we could have started with that's better. And that kind of reflects where we are and what we're trying to do. You are very much part of kind of the new generation coming up. Allahumma barik, you're doing incredible stuff. And you're doing it at a really, really young age. Allahumma barik. So, it's really impressive what you're doing. And, we'll get into it, the scope to which you're trying to kind of develop it to, if you'll pardon the pun. Follow us on all platforms.
You heard the man. Stop right now, do it.
You know what I mean? Right now, pause. So, we'll be getting to that, inshallah, during the course of this, little chat. Before we get into everything, bro, so chat to me, man. Let's take it all the way back. Why did you choose this? I mean, it's not something that comes naturally, or rolls off the tongue naturally. Isn't I want to get into personal finance, or I want to teach people about personal finance. You know what I mean? So how did you get into that? Maybe before you even get into that, what did you study? What were you like as a kid? Give us a little bit of backstory. You know what I mean? We want to hear the origin story.
We need the team, man.
All right. Let me start from where it all started, where I still call home to this day.
Uh-huh.
So I was born and raised and spent the first 8-9 years of my life, I believe, I could be wrong, in Southeast London in an area called Woolwich. That's where I was born.
Okay.
Okay.
So do I need to hide my phone or?
I'm not gonna lie to you, you should hide the phone in general, fam. You Birmingham brothers are... Hey.
You know what I mean?
Listen. I might start this Birmingham London agenda right now. But yeah, no. So I started my life there. And for many different reasons, if you know about Woolwich, you know about Woolwich. But our family, we moved. But we didn't move to a different city straight away or different area. We actually left the country.
Okay.
So we went to Somalia for a couple of months, and then I went to Yemen for 2 years. Around 2 years, right?
Nice.
And I feel like that's basically where I kind of like have my earliest memories, like back to back, where I can remember a lot of things in Yemen. Now, Yemen, I loved Yemen.
Yeah?
Right? We were in Sana'a, the capital.
Okay.
And I feel like that really, really matured me and put me in a different perspective.
How old were you when you were in Yemen?
around 8, I think.
Okay.
I think I was around 8 years old, right? And there's two pivotal things that happened. So I stopped becoming the youngest in my family, right? So my little sister that I love so much came in, but I probably took that hard, right? So I went from being baby of the family, being babied so much, to now there's another little kid in the house. Like, all the attention's not on you no more. But also, in the UK, we get babied so much, right? I'm like, I can't go nowhere without Hoya in Somalia and Yemen, right? I need to hold Hoya's hand. There's younger kids walking around the street freely, right? So that really matured me and like put me into a different perspective. Of course, being in a different country where you're not in like in terms of the West really does humble you, and you see the haves and the have-nots and so on and so forth. And the biggest thing that it did teach me is perspective, right? And alhamdulillah, of course, we have the deen, but I think at that age I didn't really understand the deen. Even until later age, I didn't understand the deen of being alhamdulillah for everything. But it taught me perspective that there's people that don't have something and there's people that do have something. So when I did come back to the UK, and now I'm not in the 10% or the 1%, it really did ground me in terms of like, be happy for what you have, right? You got your family, you got your vibes, whatever, right? So that did teach me one thing. But also, I'm coming back to my first year, I think year 6 or year 5, and they're talking to me about reading time, come sit on the carpet. Don't talk to me like I'm a kid. What is this? And then I think it was kind of that you're talking to me like I'm a kid, and then also there wasn't no more authority. In Yemen and Somalia, your teacher says something, you follow it.
There's a hierarchy.
Or you get beat. Yeah, there's that power dynamic. And for me, I feel like living in that, they all create a void. Like the way the teacher was talking to me, like it's like a question. Okay, so I've got a choice now.
Yeah.
I can listen to you or I don't have to. So very soon on, I did develop a little authority. I didn't like authority, basically. And going through school, I think that was a very common thing. Of course, I think I was well behaved. I was a cheeky kid. Teachers always just say like, "Oh, we like you, we love you, whatever." But he always speaks too much, and sometimes he doesn't listen, and he always finds a way to like dodge the work. But then like he understands it, so you're like, "But miss, I know what I'm doing." That's common feedback I got from, I guess, primary and secondary school to my parents. But then I think moving on in terms of like going to secondary school, we were new to East London. So I moved to East London, sorry about that. Yeah, I moved to South Hamlets, East London. We were originally living in an area called Bow. And I think my mum was like, of course, like had people in the area. So when they told me to go to a specific school in year 7, it was a very, very bad school and a very, very rough school. Mum said, "You're not going to." So she put me into a private school for the time being, until I found a school I went to in Whitechapel called S1E School. Now, that little transition period that I was in is where I think I started selling sweets, I think, or something like that. And I feel like that's the first time I started like interacting with money. And the only time I interacted with money and really understood it is because I had someone older than me that my brother knew. That my brother was like, oh, like he came up to me the first day of the service and said, "Oh, who's the man in this classroom?" And I timidly put my hand up. It's the guy at 10 or 11. He was like, "Oh, I know your brother, by the way, whatever. Like, if you need anything, let me know." He would sell sweets and sell stuff in school. So I kind of picked it up from him. And I was selling stuff like that. So basically, I would do muffins and Kit Kats. So I'll buy £1 muffins, 4, and I'll sell each one for like £1.50 or whatever. And then I'll get Kit Kats as well and sell them each for 60p basically, right? And by the end of the week, alhamdulillah, I was a bit more up. And then I'll kind of go through that every single other week, right? By the time I went to secondary school, normal public school, free school meals kind of kicks in. So I didn't really need to do that as much. But I still was sometimes being cheeky with it. I think amongst my friendship circle, I wasn't the worst with money, but I was decent. I'll say above average. Because we used to do this one thing, right? So we used to play football on Fridays, but we would also try to go to either Subway or go to like a chicken and chip shop.
Swing by, yeah.
Yeah, basically chicken and chip shop at the end, but you'd have to like have money, like £4, whatever, to spend, right? And I think I always kind of, every Friday I had it. I didn't have to get a kids meal basically, while some of my other friends did. Now, where personal finance really came in, and alhamdulillah, I'm very blessed with this, is my older sister, right? And I have to tell you her story for it to make sense about me. She's several years older than me, and when I was in year 10, we used to always speak about politics, this, business, so on and so forth. She had a conversation with my parents and said, "I'm going to take a gap year. Riba's haram. I won't be taking student finance. I'm going to save my way through. This is my plan." That is the first time I really got exposed to that world. But I didn't know I was getting exposed to that world. That's the first time I got exposed to that world. So her going through that journey, and wallahi, she didn't struggle. It wasn't like a struggle where she hated it. It was more of a, she saw the ends to it. Of course, it wasn't easy, right? But the struggle is in terms of like she hated it or she regret. No, she didn't hate it or regret it at all. She went through that journey. She saved for university, and by I think towards her third year, or start of her third year, she already paid off everything.
Mashallah.
And the books that she'll get, I started reading, and so on and so forth. And that was my introduction to personal finance, right? And I think the second best blessing I had is that I was diagnosed with, I think, dyslexia in year 7. And I hated the label he gave me. So they put me in bottom set for everything, right? I hated the label he gave me, spoke to one of my favorite teachers, and I said, like, what's one thing I can do to really, like, change this aspect, right? Reading. And not only did I end up loving reading, but I found, like, a very, very niche type of books that I would enjoy, and I just read every single day. And I feel like to that teacher's conversation I had with a teacher, and then combine that with all my sister and with books she was reading, that's how I was able to pick up these personal finance books and really learn it. Now, that didn't stop me. Age 16, first job, you can guess what I bought. I bought an Arsenal shirt and some football shoes. It didn't stop me. You can read all you want, but it just still didn't stop me because I didn't know what I didn't know, if that makes sense. So that's kind of like a little background about where I kind of started, yeah.
No, Allah Barak. Listen, your story is incredible because there's so many things that you say that I resonate to, because I'm probably on at the other end. I'm the eldest of my family. So sometimes when you look at your little siblings, you're there like, listen, benefit from what we know or the struggles we went through, you know? But when you see someone who's one of the youngest in the family and you're taking that opportunity with both hands and just learning, it's beautiful. As an older sibling, I'm sure your sister's very, very proud of you and all your other siblings and your parents. But if you take the opportunity, like the world is your oyster. Allah Barak.
Definitely.
So after that, you went to university. What did you study in university?
So I studied business management in university. I actually studied business in GCSEs, A-levels, and also university.
Okay.
Now, I picked business management, and I cheekily picked it. So I was actually thinking about, do I need to go to university? I was very interested in politics, economics as well. But I picked business management because I did have an ambition of me entering the consultancy world and having my own consultancy firm. And I realized, okay, cool, I need a bit of time, all right, to start my businesses, to learn a bit more, to network. And I was fearful, if I'm being honest, that me not going to university, there was too many I was in a negative environment that I could go down the left path. Right? And I was always very conscious of that. So for me, I picked university. I'm like, it's going to give me some sort of structure. It will take me away from some sort of like madness. So that's why I decided to go to university, and I studied business management. And yeah, alhamdulillah, it was great. I made sure I picked a university that was close to me because I knew I wouldn't try to attend as much if I picked a faraway university.
Yeah.
Even the fact that I picked a university 10 minutes away from me, I was still late every day, and I still missed a lot, right? So for me, it was very conscious. Make sure I picked one that there was no exams, so I didn't have to revise. I could do coursework last minute. It was very intentional, and I think at age 17, 18, I didn't know how intentional I was being, but it worked in my favor, right? Because fast forward, alhamdulillah, I wasn't get into it. That's kind of how it started. But I think in and around that journey as well, the biggest thing was the fact that me knowing that my degree wouldn't be what I came to university for. Like, I can't just leave with my university degree and say I've done a good job. So that's part of, I guess.
Just as a segue, you know, there's a lot of people that say networking is overrated, and you see a lot of people talking about networking these days. But how much has networking done for you, and what's your view on networking?
I wouldn't be sitting here right now if it wasn't for networking. Right? Let's talk about how I first came to that event. So I created a Twitter account. I had a troll Twitter account where I used to like tweet about football and basketball. And then when I started my journey in terms of Urban Rise, I kind of like made a professional account with my picture on it, so on and so forth, right? I would follow different accounts, different pages, so on and so forth. People I found interesting, right? And shout out to Shu'aib. I followed him on Twitter. I genuinely don't care about that world of technology or IT at all, but I loved what he was doing. And he literally, I think, retweeted one of your things or said, I'm going to here, looking forward to who I see. I'm going here tomorrow, looking forward to who I see. And I'm like, damn, what's this? Clicked onto your profile. This is legit the day before, I think December 31st or whatever, right? The day before, and I legit said, the tickets are sold out or whatever on the link. And I DM'd you guys. I'm like, hi, so on and so forth, recent graduate, would love to come through if there's any spare tickets. I don't know who responded, but one of you guys responded saying that we've got some extra tickets here. You can go through. I'm like, alhamdulillah. Came through to the event. It was in my local area and not too far from me where I live. So it was in Whitechapel, I believe. And yeah, so met you guys, 18 months ago now? And then, we spoke at that day. We interacted. I actually didn't know that you guys were the ones that were running at first. I think you guys were like, had some food to bring in. So I was like, I was just seeing some random other brothers carrying stuff. Let me just go and help them type stuff. So for me, it was kind of around that. But like, networking doesn't have to be intentional all the time.
Exactly.
It could just kind of happen, right? So that's kind of one benefit of networking. But I feel like 99% of opportunities that Urban Rise has got, or even on a personal level that I've got, is through relationships. Now, networking is a very dirty word, and I kind of like looking at it from the perspective of like, build relationships. Be yourself and be very genuine, and what will come to you will come to you. At the end of the day, we're Muslims, right? So we believe our path is ordained from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But also, like, if I go out and just build a relationship with someone, if they know who I am and they trust me and they find me valuable, whatever, if they think about opportunity for Urban Rise, they've also got to plug me. Naturally, that's what happens, right? You're on the format of it, it kind of happens. Jabril, you guys were having a conversation. Jabril said, oh yeah, Abdirahman will be perfect for it.
Yeah,
let's hit him.
Because you left an impression when we networked and you came to our event.
18 months ago.
So the first thought was, Abdirahman, definitely right person.
Does that make sense? Like, it's not about like, did I say to you guys I want to be on a podcast?
No.
Like, I think this is my second or third time I've been, like, I don't, like, wasn't intentional at all, right? It's just, that's how I see networking. So there is a dirty word nowadays, but for me, it's about relationship building.
Listen, I think you've kind of surmised it perfectly, because, you know, I don't know why. Maybe it's just, for whatever reason, there's a hype around it right now. The idea of, you know, networking and this, that. And maybe because everyone's selling a course and everyone's talking about it, it has maybe a slightly negative, maybe, but, you know, people kind of look at it slightly a little bit negatively because they associate it with a specific type of person.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
The type of person who sells those courses and stuff. But I think the way you've reframed it is perfect, 100%. It's about building relationships. That's all it is, you know? So when you enter those spaces, or when you know, when you're thinking about, if you are thinking about networking, you shouldn't think about it from the perspective of, oh, you know, I'm trying to network so I can build my, networking capacity so I can get this. No, just don't think about the end goal, and don't even think about networking. Just think about getting to know people, building your relationships. You know, when you show genuine interest in people,
Making connections.
it just, you create connection, and you know that authenticity. You know, it is the most perfect way to really build relationships and get you to that goal that you want. But you don't when you have kind of a topsy-turvy understanding of it, when you try to put the cart before the horse.
Very transactional kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It becomes very transactional, and even that is quite apparent.
For me, the biggest thing about it is that most good relationship business dynamics I've had, I didn't tell them about Urban Rise. We just had a good conversation.
Literally.
And then at the end, they're like, oh, can I grab your number? Can I grab your email? Can I grab LinkedIn? And that's when I kind of realized, okay, cool, like, this was a good conversation. And then they follow me, they're like, sometimes I'll go over there, like, you didn't tell me about XYZ. Or vice versa, where like I speak to them and then I actually realize, like, cool, this is a good conversation. And then they will ask me, like, hey, what the hell? I've been talking so much. What do you do?
What do you do? Yeah.
And then it kind of happens. So yeah, you've hit the nail on the head.
No, 100%, bro. Mashallah. And the fact that you've been able to figure it out as young as you have, Allahumma barik, you know what I mean, is really a testament to yourself. It took us a long time to get there, bro. A very long time, Allahumma barik. Your journey, bro, has been remarkable. And I think it's really cool for people to look at the milestones in your life and those kind of key and pivotal moments that shaped you into who you are. Whether it's your sister, without realizing, her being in her own journey, being a kind of a keystone moment for you in developing your own ideas about, you know, what you're interested in, what you're passionate about, you know, the role that your teacher played, you know. And I think truly, especially in this society, I really think our teachers are our unsung heroes. I don't think especially Western civilization, but more specifically our context here in the UK, I don't think they're given the props that they deserve, especially when it's done properly. A teacher is one of the most pivotal and one of the most foundation-building roles and jobs in society when done right. To see that in action with you, you know, in terms of them guiding you down the right path and really being that role that you needed and shaping it to you are, you pushing past your, your dyslexia, and not letting it limit you, not letting it define you, which again is one of the symptoms that we have in this kind of society where we're all kind of defined by, the labels and these boxes that everyone tries to put us in. So, Allahumma barik, it's a truly testament to your character and your tarbiyah, I think. Moving forward, I think that's given us a great little insight into your origin story, the superhero that is Abdirahman. Let's talk personal finance. Yeah, personal finance. It's a little bit of, I find it interesting because for some people it's a bit of a dirty word. For some people it's like this unknown thing that people don't really know what it is. People sometimes incorrectly kind of lump it with other things.
Yeah.
And one thing that we hear time and time again is people don't really understand finance, especially as it pertains to their personal finances. They don't understand how to deal with it. They don't understand.
I'm still learning.
We all are.
Bro.
It's a journey.
It's a journey.
So for you to jump on this topic, which is a growing topic and it's a very misunderstood one, and focus on a niche, which is young people, let's start with that. Let's start with what are kind of some of the misconceptions that people have around personal finance and that you found. And then as a follow along, what are some kind of unique challenges that young people kind of face when it comes to personal finance?
Okay. So in a nutshell, I want to simply say financial literacy, right, is the ability for a person to make informed choices with having the correct skills and knowledge and their behaviors. Simple as. It is not about being rich.
One more time.
It is not about being rich.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Financial literacy is ground zero, right? You can have 40,000 a year, or you can have a multimillionaire, billionaire. If you do not have financial literacy, then the foundations of you trying to be wealthy and you trying to be XYZ will crumble, right? I can ask you guys yourself, how many celebrities do you know have made multi-millions and end up being broke after their whatever?
So many.
So many. Why? Because the foundations weren't there. They weren't living within their means. They weren't thinking about the future. So financial literacy is ground zero.
Okay.
For me, I speak to young people and I really try to drill it in. I ain't here teaching you about how to make money. We can have separate conversations about that. Don't get it twisted, right? I'm a public speaker, facilitator. I run a business. Of course, I'm very interested in wealth building and making money. But financial literacy is ground zero. Now, when it comes to personal finance and financial literacy, but personal finance, for me, 95% of personal finance is about your behavior. Now, there's a Cambridge study done that some or most of our habits are formed by the age of 7 when it comes to money.
Okay. I'm screwed already.
Long day.
Long day, right? So, depending on where you're from, right, if you want to get better at it, right, you need to understand that from a very young age, your habits will kind of formed in terms of like your perspective with money. Now, does that mean that's a be all and end all?
No. One
No.
hopes.
Because everyone knows you can unlearn habits. You can go through around it, right? So for me, I think the biggest perspective that I kind of teach is like, let's speak about habits and what is your relationship with money? What is your relationship with money? Okay? And the one tip I'll always give people, if they were to leave here, go start speaking about money. Every week, pick a different person and just start talking about money. Start with your family, start with your close friends. Start speaking about money. Stop making money a taboo topic. I think we'll get into that in a bit later, but stop making money a taboo topic. Stop making it something like, oh, actually, no, I don't want to speak about it. Or when money does get brought up, it's about how we're going to make our millions. No. Ground zero. Financial literacy.
I've seen that a lot. we just went to Minnesota to do an event over there, and everyone's just talking about money, right? But they weren't talking about financial literacy. It's more about let's get the bag. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's talking about we need to make money. It was more like very capitalistic mindset. So I 100% agree with you. We don't even have the foundations. Before you start making money, do you have the baseline of knowing how to first and foremost make healthy money, how to keep money? What are you doing wrong? You could be earning 30,000 a year and still save and make adjustments, you don't need to be making 100,000, 200,000. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, there's a lot of behaviors that we need to unlearn.
I think the biggest thing about that, right, is so in my workshops and events, one of the things I do is I speak about, I try to demystify certain topics, certain things, right? And before we start about habits, I ask young people, what do you think the average wage in the UK is? Wallahi, in the majority is 50 or 100K, they assume.
I don't even think it reaches 30.
It's around just over 30,
Imagine.
right? So full time, I think, is around 37, 38,000.
That's wild.
And then combining everyone across the whole UK is around 33,000.
It's a good
Of course, if you go to London and there's different statistics and different whatever. But the younger generation, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, they think 6 figures, all this, 1 million, whatever, is a no. Wake up and smell the coffee. So that's kind of what the first straight away that I do. And I feel like, for me, it actually helps me out because at the end of the day, alhamdulillah, like, black don't crack. I do look I look younger than I actually am. So I'm already young, but I look younger than I am. So some of the workshops, some of the events I'm in, there's easily people older than me or people same age as me that look at me like, oh, he's younger than me.
He's a baby,
So straight away, I kind of like, cool, like, you're going to learn something today. So the first interactive thing I do is like, we'll just do like a little game. And straight away, you find out you don't know something. We're all here to learn something. I still don't know something. Every day I'm learning something about personal finance. I always love speaking to people about money. And I find a new tip, a new thing. So yeah. That's, I guess, my perspective. Yeah.
Listen, again, bro, 100%. Because you mentioned celebrities. Obviously, as you know, the majority of athletes, professional athletes, whether it's in the States or, in Europe, a lot of them face financial difficulties. A lot of them go bankrupt within, I think, 5 years of retiring. And these are people that earn, crazy amounts of money, So it's not about how much money you make. It really doesn't matter. I was reading this article about this. So this guy from the UK who went to Dubai and set up a personal finance company because he realized there was a massive need for it there because their financial literacy was as close to zero as possible. And he was talking about how one of his clients who was, and I think he said about 6 figures a month, told him that he was in debt.
Damn.
So this is someone who's earning 6 figures a month, not a year, a month, and he was in debt. And he was completely kind of shocked by that until he looked at that guy's lifestyle and he looked at the guy's spending habits and he realized this is a guy, he's an entrepreneur. He knows how to make money, but he's never been taught how to keep it. He's never been taught about, managing his expenses. He's never been taught about how to live, at least within your means. If not below your means, at least within your means. He was maintaining multiple households. He was living incredibly lavishly. And that's how you go from a place where even if you're earning a lot of money, if you don't have the necessary foundations, it doesn't matter if you're making 6 figures. It doesn't matter if you're making more than that. And also the inverse is true. It doesn't matter if you're making a very small amount of money. How many times, we're just talking about this when we're driving down, we're talking about how, our parents and people within our communities are able to save significant amount of money.
Hagbed or Yuto, whatever you want to call it.
You know what I mean? Hagbed or Yuto or...
buying the land back home.
What's the Arabic equivalent? I've been around Somalia so long, I forgot my own language, but the Arabic word for it is Jam'iyya. Okay. That's the one, Jam'iyya. Which nearly every community has, the equivalent of something like that. Which is, for those of you that don't know, basically it's like a communal saving pot where everyone puts in money on a monthly basis, and then there's a payout. Each month there's a payout for each person, and then that way that money is recycled and everyone gets a payout. So these are people who are earning very, very small amounts of money, sometimes even unemployed, but they're able to develop really solid savings, and because of their habits, because of their financial habits, because of their ability to live below their means and not spend and be very conscious about how they spend, they always seem to be in a very, very strong financial position. I used to think, and we talked about this, how were they able to sustain such massive families and build the things that they were able to build, Allahumma barik, and invest things back home, give money to family, do this and do that, whilst not earning anywhere close to what we consider to be a decent wage. And we're struggling, earning way more than they ever earned. You know what I mean?
And
I feel like purely for me, the reason why we're struggling first and foremost is because of technology.
Okay.
Okay, so you think technology is the
think-
reason why we're struggling?
Technology is the umbrella, but let's go down to it, right? It's consumerism. We're getting ads left, right, centre to us 24/7, and we were born or raised or spent majority of our existence in the West, right? With the older generation, they don't care about flashy things. Okay, I'm gonna make a statement and I'm gonna stand by 100%. I feel like the older generation, the issue that I have with them is that the resources, the knowledge that they have, they've kept it.
100%.
However, it isn't because they've done it on purpose. It's because there's a lack of communication. Now, is that a language barrier? Is that a culture barrier? Is so on and so forth? I don't know. Right? The first time you ever hear about money, what a lot of my friends and people speak about money, is the Hoyer tax. Once you start making money, you get the Hoyer tax, right? So that's an issue. But with the younger generation, is the fact that, cool, if you don't learn it at home, the schools aren't teaching you, okay? And you come from a position where you're not coming from a lot of money, then where you gonna learn it? It's through technology, through social media, right? The rappers, the athletes, TV shows, the flashiness, whatever, right? So you'll be conditioned to develop, okay, once I get money, I need to go get this, right? A lot of people, as soon as they get a part-time job, they all calculate how much money they're gonna make a month. Already, they haven't even got the interview, they haven't even got the job, whatever. So it's kind of based around that. So I feel like that's the biggest issue. But yeah, I think there's a lot of wisdom in the older generation. We kind of have to unlock it. But is that our duty to unlock it?
Allah Alam, eh?
Allah Alam. I don't know. What's your perspective? Is it the younger generation to go to the old generation and try and learn it from them? Or is it the old generation's responsibility to teach the younger generation?
I think that time's passed. I think they've done what they could. And I think
the best they can.
Yeah, or the best they can, yeah. We are at an age now where we should unlock that because we know how to unlock it. Well, a lot of us do. You know, you've gone to university, you've learned about critical thinking, you know how to communicate. I'm sure if it's as simple as sitting down with your parents and just asking them questions and they will tell you everything. It's just that we've lost that communication where we
100%.
can honestly just speak about anything.
And if you're unable to do that for whatever reason, the same thing that's poisoning you right now when it comes to your personal finance can become your superpower. Technology.
Yeah.
Right? Ways to save, learning, consuming different things, whatever. You can start limiting yourself. You can start learning things through technology, right? So I feel like the biggest thing about it is the fact that you need to sit down first and foremost and realize, okay, cool. Start having a conversation with people like, what do you think my worst habit about money is? Ask your friends and family that. What would you rate me out of 10? Okay? Would you think I'm a spender? Do you think I'm a saver? Am I stingy? Why do you think I'm stingy? Whatever. Have conversations.
Why is it?
And leave it ego at the door, please.
But why do you think there's a taboo when it comes to talking about money?
Why do I think there's a taboo when it comes to talking about money? In our community?
Yeah.
I feel like the older generation, they've done everything they can do, and their perspective is the fact that they were very well at living within their means. And let's be honest, right? It's kind of like when you enter a profession, and I think we were speaking before we started recording, right? When you enter a profession, certain things become common sense to you that you think is common sense to everyone, but they actually don't really know. Now, our parents have come to a different country where, with all due respect, their religion's under attack. They're trying to protect you. They're trying to learn the school system themselves while raising you, right? And I feel like we all go through a transition period where we realize we respect our parents so much. We think they had all the answers.
Yeah.
But when you hear teenagers, you're like, actually, no, Hoya and Arba were just kind of like, they were going through life at the same time I was going through life. This is the first time they've ever raised kids. Why am I acting like they should have all the answers? So it's kind of in a basis, we need to give them the grace. We need to give them the respect that they deserve wholeheartedly. And whatever we were unable to learn from them, we have to go seek out with your own 2 feet and go learn. That's my perspective. But the reason, with the taboo thing, I feel like I think it's on the younger generation. Especially when it comes to finance. I don't know about any other topic. It's on the younger generation because, let's be real, you could sit down across Hoya and Arba pretty much every day and you have conversations about so many different things. If you want to get better at something, you'll go about getting better at something. You speak to your friends about money all the time anyways. but you speak about the wrong topics about money. You speak about how to make money, let's get to the bag, or how much you spend on your car, or you speak about all the wrong things, right? You're speaking about, oh my God, are you going to buy the new whatever?
Yeah.
Right? Jordan, this, what has crypto. You're speaking about all the wrong topics. Reframe the questions, start with your friends, and you can come to your family as well, but you can also use technology to kind of learn. That's my biggest perspective anyways, in and around that.
Okay, let's move on to Urban Rise. And what's your aim with it? Where are you trying to go? How far are you trying to take it? And where are you currently with it?
So, alhamdulillah, in the last year and a half, actually, since I've officially registered Urban Rise, I've reached, I think, just over 700 young people and teaching them financial literacy through workshops and events. I feel like where I'm trying to take it now, I'll break it down into this. So I'm trying to build out a theory side of it, where I'm trying to do research reports and try to do research reports within our community in terms of being from, low socioeconomic backgrounds, not having a lot of access to wealth, how we are going to build wealth, so on and so forth, our habits in and around that.
Have you? Sorry, just to interject on that. Have you experienced or have you felt that there isn't a lot of research?
No.
Around
So
that, yeah?
unfortunately, for example, like if I were to throw some statistics out to you, right, 45%, right, of the UK, so almost half the UK lacks basic financial literacy.
Wow.
Now, that is a massive statistic. Almost half the UK lacks basic financial literacy. But let's be real. If we go into the intersectionality of that, it will be much, grand.
70 to 80%.
Allahu A'lam, right? And there's so many statistics I've read, so many different reports I've read, and I go into the finer details. Oh, you've only really had a sample size of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people. How much of that is from my community?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How much of that is from an underrepresented background, underprivileged background? So it's in and around that. So yeah, going back to Urban Rise's vision. So with my vision is that I want to kind of split up into three. So have the research side of things, the theory side of things, to kind of influence policy, influence decision for our benefit. And so products and services are tailored to what we need and are really, our challenges and benefit for us. Secondly, to have like an offline and an online educational platform where young people can really, really learn. So the online will start with a quiz where you can find out what you do and don't know about financial literacy. Inshallah, by the time you're hearing this, you can go do the quiz yourself.
Inshallah.
And then this will kind of then feed in to the offline version where I'm hosting events in and outside of our community where you can come and learn from experts, different people. It'll be different themes based. And that's kind of how I'm trying to grow Urban Rise.
No, it's beautiful. Allah Barik. And, we wish nothing but the best for you when it comes to Urban Rise. And we're your biggest supporters.
Inshallah, yeah.
What is, looking back now, what is one thing you knew when you were starting? Like, so now that you've been doing it for 18 months, what is it that you've learned over the last 18 months that you wish you knew when you were starting?
In terms of the business side of things?
In terms of business side of things, yeah.
Or anything in your whole journey, since you've started this, what do you?
Let's stick to our community for now. Let's have a very interesting conversation about our community right now. I was overly optimistic on how much I believe the older generation and people who had businesses or community centers and so on and so forth would have helped me out in my journey.
Damn.
Urban Rise started with a focus with the Somali community. And I think with ambition and with realizing that the community, the older generation, weren't helping me out as much, I expanded it. And of course, with some certain opportunities, I expanded it and realized that this could be much bigger than just a community. But I had to leave the community, get respect elsewhere, for certain individuals to come back to me and say, oh, I see what you're doing now. Oh, you see what I'm doing now? Hey. Oh, before you were trying to tell me that I have to cough up all the money to do X, Y, Z, and now you're trying to say you're going to pay. Okay. I think for me, it's embarrassing and it's sad. But the reason why I feel like it's embarrassing is because they have no shame with it. But the reason why I think it's sad is because of the simple fact that I was overly optimistic. And I had so many individuals. I think the conversation we had with you guys when we went out to eat after things, like they were like, Abdirahman, don't have too much oil. I think you said it, yeah. Both of you guys kind of mentioned it on it and said, don't put all your eggs in one basket in that sense, right? Be a bit more reserved. But I was overly optimistic in that sense. So I was sad on that point where I guess, deflated in terms of like the fact that my community wasn't really helping me out. Now, the younger generation helped me out so much more. Like, the people around me, the amount of support I get on a regular basis from the people around me, from people my age, is incredible. And I'm like, I wouldn't be here where I am today without the support around that. So I thought the younger generation has really stepped behind me and keep saying me, like, wallah, I need this, wallah, I need this, wallah, I need this. So, yeah, I feel like that's a testament to itself. Even last night, for example, I was kicking ball with my friends, similar conversation. They're like, "Hey, bro, well, one of them are like, hey, I don't know if I said this recently, yeah, but I love what you're doing, bro. Keep going, bro. He said it to me 2-3 weeks ago, but for me, it means the world. Like, you get it, like, and so it's just simple and in and around that. So that's kind of from a business perspective. Yeah, but alhamdulillah, blessing in disguise. I've left the community. I've done so much great work outside it, and I'm trying to take the youth sector by storm, right? I want Urban Rise to become a leading, a known entity within the space, within the financial literacy space, and see where I can go with it, inshallah.
And bi'idhnillah, it will be.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. With you at its head, bi'idhnillah, inshallah ta'ala, it will do. I laughed earlier, not because it was funny, but because it was interesting how, I mean, we're probably all the same generation, but how we went through something incredibly similar, and how unfortunately those coming after us are still facing a similar issue. But like, as you said, at the latter half of what you were saying, we are our own salvation, I think. The reason why I think we said that to you last time about not putting all your eggs in one basket, or not being too optimistic about a certain community, is for a number of reasons. But really and truly, I think sometimes we need to do things outside before we can do things inside.
100%.
Sometimes you have to start macro in order to affect in the micro, because unfortunately, your community tends to be the one that can't see the vision first. They can only see the vision after other people recognize it. After you successful elsewhere, that's when people will be like, oh, I never realized it could be like this, or I never realized that's what you were doing, or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes it's just understanding that it's not necessarily personal. It's because they have a certain viewpoint of you. It's difficult for them to break outside of it.
Yeah. Definitely.
So you need to, and other people don't have that issue, because other people they're engaging with you on the basis of what you're bringing, not on, preconceived ideas or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes it's better to start big, and then, then you can focus on niche communities that you want to help. Alhamdulillah, either way, regardless of that experience, you were able to kind of still flourish and spread your wings and do your thing, inshallah. And so, with your experience now, and what you've been able to develop, and what you've been able to really witness working with young people and working with people on these issues, what are some of the key takeaway points that people can implement in their life right now to develop their personal finance and really build a strong foundation when it comes to their financial health and financial future?
So for me, the 5 tips in general that I'll give to any young person, or any person listening, right, is 1, start talking about money, as I said earlier, okay? 2, understanding your habits. Because if you don't know your habits, then how can you start changing it? In a sense, remember earlier I said this study of Cambridge at the age of 7, right? So understand your habits. Secondly, savings. But not only general savings, but how do you save? Understand how you save best. And as quick as possible, identify your emergency savings. For example, for me, if my glasses, my phone, or my laptop break, that will impact my life, right? My work, my glasses, and my phone, right? How much does that all cost? Okay, that costs around 1.4 for me to replace all 3 of them if they were to break the same day. I need to save that amount. Comfy. If you're working a full-time job, okay, cool, I need to have 2 to 3 months of living expenses. Save that. Okay? Budgeting. Everyone budgets in a different way, but budget is not doing it at the beginning of the month and leaving it. Just keep coming back to it and understanding how that kind of works. And the last one, as I said earlier, economic security, right? Understanding where's your level basis at, okay? What is comfortable for you? Because let's be real, if you start life and you be like, hey, cool, like I just want to make my money, I want to be rich. Everyone's like, oh, I want to be rich, I want to be rich, I want to be rich. Cool. You reach 100K, you reach 200K. Where did it stop? At the end of the day, we're Muslims, so we have a greater purpose in life. But regardless, money is a toxic thing. As long as you set boundaries, then it's beautiful. You can live within your means. But if you're going to keep chasing, then that's going to be an issue.
I would throw it back to you, I guess, and say, is there anything that we haven't covered, or is there a question that you feel like we haven't asked you that could actually bring a lot of value to people that you'd want to kind of quickly go over?
I guess I'll say in a nutshell, start planning and start writing things down. Because I think a lot of times, once you start having conversations and start speaking about things, it's so easy for you to have it all in your head. And I journal. I journal about my business mainly. I journal my personal finance. But I journal. And what it allows me to do is get my thoughts on a piece of paper and see the bigger picture. A lot of people say, oh, alhamdulillah, you're very ambitious. For me, I'm like, damn, I don't think I'm that ambitious. I have other ideas of what I want to do. We spoke about a very important topic in terms of the older generation not supporting as much and the younger generation being better at it. I want to create a community of like-minded business people, and we're helping each other out into the ecosystem in the Somali community, right? I've noted that down. It's on a someday list idea, and inshallah, a way to execute it, that's later down the line.
Inshallah.
Right? But for me, it's journeying, I guess, and writing stuff down.
Inshallah. Excellent. Thank you so much for that, bro. It's been an incredible conversation.
Yeah,
a lot of golden nuggets in there. I'm sure people get a lot of value from that. We're excited to see you release the things that you're going to release in the other upcoming weeks, inshallah. And, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barak in everything you do. From us, thank you so much for watching. Abdirahman, thank you so much for joining us today. I know this is the start of just one of many collaborations we're going to have in the future, and unlimited success for yourself and your platform, inshallah.
And how can people reach you?
So you can follow me on social media, AA Urban Rise, or you can check out our website, urbanrise.org.
Perfect.
We'll put all his contact information in our description box below, where you can find you and everything you're doing, inshallah. I've been Salman. To my right, we've had the Honorable Dr. Fattah and, of course, Abdirahman. Until the next time, we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.